The Greatest Escape, I would like to kind of just go back just a little bit because, like I've said before, there's so much that is intersecting even today. I'm just really amazed on how our heavenly Creator is meshing and blending everything together. So it's just really amazing, and I'm just so privileged to love you guys and be able to spend time with you and all that. So again, before I start the amazing escape, which I've titled one chapter in the book, I'd like to fill in a little bit about my biological father, whom Roy Donaldstein Jr., whom I didn't know because again my father's drill sergeant helped him in you know, getting a divorce from my mother, which was probably the best thing considering he was going to put his butt on the line, and it was probably pertinent that he be thinking correctly, if you know what I'm saying. However, I found out just not long ago uh, by forming a really awesome relationship with my biological uh, father, who also has expressed just how awesome he knew Fred. You know, my one of my best friends ever, and again, one who's instilled that one of the very reasons why I'm able to come to you right now. And I believe that's why he was sent to me as a young child, a troubled child, and even so to come, just the epitome of suffering and trouble. Um, Again, my biological father, he even knew how awesome Fred was, and it was just amazing to hear him um, honor uh, Fred by just just acknowledging the fact that without him in our life, um, that him and I probably wouldn't even be having the relationship that we were forming before he laid to rest. And again, I don't want to get too far ahead, but while I was unlawfully incarcerated, I had the privilege to release his body from the morgue that was exhausted of the time that they were allowed to keep his body, and I had to release because I was the next of kin to his ex's daughter, and he didn't even get a proper burial, but yeah, so that's you know, I a little bitter about that. Although when they handed me the phone and it was the coroner's office, it was a blessing to be able to talk to somebody out there other than just a couple people on a line that's being monitored, because I knew this line probably wasn't, although the people that were observing me were kind of surprised. I could tell that how well I handled that. Well, see, my brother had found him in his sleep. Um, that's exactly where he passed away, is in his sleep, after speaking to me on the phone, expressing how upset he was that I wasn't out yet. And my brother Forrest, after 2 days of no one hearing from him, had to boot in his door, and he was there in his bed and had been dead for a couple of days. His dog was there faithfully waiting, and my Forrest said that I was the last person that had spoke to him. And again, he was like, well, I don't understand what's taken so long for them to get you out. And like I've said before, I told him, I said, well, the wheels of injustice, you know, they're not, you know, they have a few more trails for me to dig and trees to fall. They got plans for, and it was not talking to, the other plan was to make it to where I'm not speaking to you. See, that's the other thing. And they've been doing that from day one. losing its luster. Uh, so, excuse me. Pardon me, that was my son's phone. He had left it in here. So anyway, yeah, he passed. He knew he knew he was dying, and I could hear the urgency in his voice, but I didn't get it until I found out that he had just recently. This was just it wasn't all that long ago. I'd spent 18 months in, and then my last, when they finally had enough of me, you know, doing what the Lord would have me do, they sent me back to do some more of His work somewhere else. And so, but yeah, it was a pleasure to be able to speak to my father, my fleshly father, Roy, and so back to Greatest Escape, and I'm gonna get there in a second. But because I missed yesterday, and the enemy, it's just always up to no good. But again, you can tell by all the faith that's being exercised that we're starting to see more of what has always been there. It's just the more light that's being exposed through faith, the more degradation and it's biodegradation. That's what it is. That's why they put, like I said, balsamic vinegar and good olive oil, which I got a good story about old growth 87 old growth olive trees on my property in California. Wine and beer, stuff in darker bottles, because once it's off the vine, it just starts to break down. But when it's alive, it thrives off that sun. It thrives off of light. And thank the good Lord for life-giving and healing sunlight. Of course, we have soul-healing, life-giving light and the SON light. But so the Greatest Escape is going to also include Roy. So I thought that I would include that. We, like I said, after Freddie and Gary had filled my pockets at Wigwam full of candy in front of a very good friend of mine, and just broke his heart thinking that I was up to stealing candy that he would have just gave me. My best friend knew that was BS, and when he went up and took care of that with old Liz the witch and those two, I wondered, like I said, why. He said, why are you doing this? They're not even your kids, you see. But we were, like I said, he treated us like he had won the lottery. Every day was like Christmas to him. He really loved us. And like I said, he had Freddie and Angie, which I didn't even know were his kids, with it, and a previous. People just didn't deserve this man, really, because very few. He was that kind of guy, and the Lord sent him to me, and I am absolutely privileged. Like I said, I wouldn't be here today. The Lord knew it and helped me out so that I could help you out, and we could help each other. Because today, if you notice on Tor says, you see, it blows me away too. Don't think that I just, it's just everyday stuff. Some of it's like that. Some of it is just, it doesn't faze me. But like today, it's getting so, the frequency and intensity is increasing in such a grand way that it's beautiful. And I'm starting to see it, and the Lord told me too. He let me know. He goes, and there's many of you. They're becoming. It's a beautiful thing. There really is no big eyes or little U's. There couldn't be. That's why they're trying to keep the head from the beautiful body, the bride. You see, we're not going to let it kill the laughter, and it is losing and flipping out. So, back to the Greatest Escape. Denise Stenson, the one at Juvenile Hall, 1211 East Alder, who, again, in her defense, it was really a pleasure to meet someone like that and to feel love, because the Lord knew I needed that. I needed I needed somebody to show me love and to know that this person was willing to spend the rest of their life with me, even though I was already, quote, trouble. And again, baby, I'm not trying to rub this in, but she was beautiful and she was, quote, intelligent, and she, what did she see in a fool like me, right? Well, the same thing that other people had seen in me that I wasn't able to see in myself. And I just thanked the good Lord. And I found out later on just who was praying for me. You see, even though my biological father had been through a lot of stuff in Vietnam, a lot of post-traumatic stuff, he also had been through a lot of stuff through the Catholic school, which I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but he has carried a lot of burden that was not his. A very heavy yoke that Lord says, hey, give me your burden, I'll give you my yoke. It's light. Oh, it's light, all right. It is. It's light in so many different ways, like Bob. He doesn't waste any brushstrokes. And when he need be, he just beats the devil right out of it. He just beats the tar right out of them brushes, right? The goo right out of it. I've always enjoyed Bob. But this man was praying for me. He just didn't have what it took to stay involved in my life when I really needed him to, because he was damaged too. He was, and of course he had to have been to get sucked into some seductress stuff, knowing this man just died. You in order to give me some, a little bit of sweet talking Betty Crocker, you want me to go ahead and just go along with the charade that these kids, they need to call me Uncle Donnie. That didn't help anything at all. And it just really, I had to let a lot of stuff go, because you can see it would just completely, it would ruin a person. And that's exactly what the that's what he wants to do, especially in this day and age. He's been doing it. We are the last on the face of this earth. You know what? We got to get our stuff together. Honestly, I'm trying to wring a few more out, but you can't stop a train, and I'm ready. But for the love of experiencing at least the latter half of an actual life, right? And I'm not complaining. If it wasn't for what I've been through, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be headed down the road I'm going, which is a destination that was never to be expected, which is just a kind of a quote in Lighting of the Lamps. But God, I was just so amazed by how everything was meshing today, Tor. So thanks again. I really appreciate all your little stuff. It's all fitting together. Even me, like I said, it blows me away. I look back and go, oh my goodness. I used to say if I could put just all the coincidences of the quote coincidences just in the last week, and you couldn't even Einstein, and it's just a dig. He wouldn't be able to equate this. There's no way. And then now I've come to after 5 years, but today it just I get surprised. It's amazing. So we're heading. We're doing the right thing, guys. We're doing the right thing, right? We just stay on track, and don't let him use the past. Don't let the enemy. And when I say him, I mean it. I mean the fallen. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just straight death. I'm talking about lies, hate, anger, pain, loneliness, and what it meant to be on a 50-year damn run. The account will be balanced, just like she said. Even scales, Greek. Carving it went over beautiful. Oh, Sasquatch! I know it's going to sound crazy. It's probably Nephilim or something, man. Stuff that was going on, the Lord was showing me, and then carving that and having that Greek, and then the scale, and then the Queen Loon, and All of it is all coming together. All of it. I didn't know. Why would I just say Greek? You know, like I used to say, speak Greek. I didn't know. And here well, what's Greek for even scales? Okay, there it is. And I still don't know if it's right. I just started painting it on there because that's what I was led to do. And it turned out great. That was the first totem I've ever carved. And when I did that just all by hand, you know. Of course, that's how you do them is by hand. I guess that was a little redundant, right? Yeah. So if I even use that word right. Anyway, back to the greatest escape. So my dad he plays a significant part in the tail end of that chapter when I went to Mission Creek after I met Denise in juvenile hall, and there's a lot of other stuff that happened there too. Nothing sexual or nothing, but just a bunch of miracles. I'd be stuck. There's so much that I actually have to move forward. But let's just say I've seen a lot of things down there in that SPU, special housing unit. They used to put me down there, and I'll get back there, but it's important. It is. They used to put me down there because I wasn't going to be bridled, and so. But you know, I wasn't the only one either. I wasn't the only one back there, but they had a back hall for, and they always put us the real unruly ones. I was the littlest guy there. Me and my brother Strat Ronnie, right, and we back hall, and you end up in the back hall by starting in the front hall when you're in trouble, and they try to wring it out. They try to wring the the independence out of you by having you sit on your bed. And I brought some tea with me today, so I don't have to run out. And I got my thing plugged in because yesterday got delayed. It tried to get hijacked, but that's not going to happen because today I'm gonna wear it out. The good Lord willing. So I love you guys, right? Oh, man. So, hey, Sean's outdoors coming through here. The only reason I don't go to him much anymore, and I love you, brother, and I always knew that, but, after that one smack in like a big pizza pie, but anyway, so I don't want to get off track. Let's see, where was I? My dad, the greatest escape, him praying for me. Come to find out, he was the one always praying. He was the one. So don't think your prayers are insignificant. Target focus your prayers, just like we need to in Portland. And yeah, so Denise, she helped me again, kind of like Bonnie. And I'll go back and brush up on her too just a little bit, and then I'll get back on because after Denise, I got on the little bus to Mission Creek in Belfair, and but yeah, Denise. Let's see, just went blank just a little bit. Just hang on a second, folks. Let's see. So Denise Stenson. Well, let me just go from there. So I get to Mission Creek, and of course I see a bunch of people I know. I see Paul and Omar Hewitt, who's again from White Swan Reservation, and I grew Echo Glen, and now Mission Creek, and a bunch of time in juvenile hall, and everybody, hey Steen, what's up? And of course, I'm not happy that I'm in juvenile prison, but this is a DNR camp, and just like Maple Lane and Toutle River, I grew fond of being in the woods, even though it was really hard work and it tore my body up. I counted on being out there, and it was hard work. And this is the camp I was telling you about. Somewhere, it was either one or the other. There was steel or Echo chainsaws, and this was the Echo ones. where they ran Echo, and they're a good saw. They really are. They're better than most people give them credit for. I believe. I ran the dog crap out of them. They put up with me, and I can run a saw. I can run the dogs off a saw. So I get there, and Denise is going to come visit me because, you know, she's not a staff member at the deal. So she said, I already checked the laws. They can't bust me. I'm not part of the deal here. I was just an intern, so they can't. So she was going to come visit me at Maple, up at Mission Creek. After I think she had to get I don't know, some permission or something like that. She was waiting for something. But meanwhile, Tonto back at the ranch. So DNR boot room, Hubbard's boot grease, mink oil. If you didn't grease your boots, people that work in the woods know. Make sure you dry your boots right. Don't get lazy. Because they get wet. Dry. Make sure they go and you get dried. Next morning, grease them up real good. But it's just crazy. Neat stuff. Neat stuff would happen. Like Butch Stuckey. I remember one time, and that's why I say when Lionel Nation, people say, I'm from was it Tawana? No, it was Tahuya. They're from Tahuya. At Tahuya, I used to work at Tawana because I know Tahuya well. I used to Mission Creek. I worked DNR. I cleaned all them dang parks. And I bring up Butch Stuckey because I can, for one, and for two, this is just how it's coming out. We'd clean these parks up, and the salmon at times, sometimes the salmon were running, and Butch and called him Dougie Fresh. They were good friends of mine. They were tight buddies in the institution. They were like two peas in a pod, man. And there was nothing funny going on about it. They were just from the same hometown and stuff, and that's how they dealt with the absence of their family, I'm sure. But they snuck down, and the crew foremen are waiting. They'd stay away from them fish, but they snuck down and they got an eye out of a fresh one, popped one of the eyes out. And this might gross some of you out, but it's just the kind of stuff that we did to kind of keep spirits alive, so to speak. And so he had a little ring box. Gets back, showers and stuff come out of the boot room and stuff. And his counselor's June. We call her June Bud, and she's kind of a cowgirl, pretty girl, and probably took more crap from us than she really needed to or deserved. But all the mail we had, it was called duty staff, and it was the center kind of the where the three wings went off, where they kind of had, it was kind of a central control. Well, the mail, they would line up the mail right there, and then when everybody got off crew, so they got off different times. The crummies, they called them, would roll in at different times, and you'd go look and see if you had mail, and then you look up here if you had a poor no pay, which if you had a poor attitude and you get in a no pay, you wouldn't be able to watch the movie. They would dangle in front of your face, kind of like the 25 cents an hour. We bust our ass, and when it comes to pay, we have to kiss staff's ass. So Butch went in, and June was working duty staff at the time. When we go out in the morning, it's a different. It's still the graveyard crew. Come back, it's the swing, and his counselor was working June was working the duty staff there, and he snuck in, and he just, got mail, and he left it, and he put her name on it, and so everybody's going there looking, and nobody really even noticed. And Dougie Fresh, he ding 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 on the window, and he's banging on again, and she looks up. She was doing paperwork, she wasn't really even paying attention to the people that were coming in like she probably should have been. And she said, mail. for you, look. And she went, like that? And she was really naive. she really was naive. And bless her heart, she was really naive. And she just was she was a country girl. And, probably, a job wasn't very far from home, and you got us knucklehead. And so she opens up this little ring deal and sees an eye, and she just flips out, and here's looking at you, June. And so anyway, just little stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, I am going to end this for now because the devil just got here, and I'll be back on later. Love you guys. Peace.